That was like 8.5 minutes, but what I have to say is a little on the long side. Okay, and I have my rig on me. I'm going to do a demonstration in the next video, probably next part of the series. I once saw a video, I was like, world's wildest police videos or some shit like that, where a man was suicidal. He was sitting in a chair in the middle of a public street, and he had a gun to his head. Now, first and foremost, you know how rare that is? I mean, seriously. A cop could work in a major city for 35 years and never see that. That is the rarest thing. A lot of people tend to commit suicide in private. But for someone to attempt suicide, even as a stupid joke, in a public street, is like the rarest thing ever. And the man had the gun to his head, and a shot rang out, and the gun was knocked out of his hand. And a bunch of cops tackled him and handcuffed him. And I've studied suicide and suicide prevention. When someone attempts suicide, the police arrest them for their own protection, bring them to a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist locks them down for a minimum of 72 hours for observation. And thank God this man was saved. I don't know what his problem was, but I don't want to see people commit suicide. It's devastating. Someone always has a friend or a relative, and you don't want to see suicide. So I was happy the man was saved. Now, how was the gun shot out of the man's hand? A cop ran up 3 feet away, pulled out his gun, fired from the hip, and shot the gun out of his hand? No. The gun was shot out of his hand by a SWAT officer. I don't know the background of that SWAT officer where the rifle was, but it happened, and thank God the man survived. Now, most police officers carry a shotgun and or a rifle in the trunk of their car. And if they absolutely have no choice, I imagine as a last resort they could pull out that rifle and shoot the gun out of the suicidal guy's hand and save him. But if it's possible, the police department is going to call in a SWAT officer, and not the guy that graduated the SWAT Academy 5 minutes ago. The SWAT officer they're going to call in has extensive shooting skill with a rifle. He's been shooting rifles for many years. He's shot tens of thousands of rounds, if not hundreds of thousands of rounds. He has several awards or championship wins. He may have special forces training. He may have been a military sniper. He may be using some kind of AR type rifle like the Mark 12, which is an AR designated for marksmen. He may be using a Remington 700 rifle, which is a bolt action rifle used by snipers. This SWAT officer is going to be several feet away from the suicidal victim, suicidal person. He's going to have that gun in a concealed position so the man does not know he's there. He's going to have a very, very, very high-powered scope on. He's going to take extremely careful aim, and he's going to shoot the gun out of the guy's hand. And the gun is being held still. And hopefully he will save the man's life, or the person's life, because you don't want to see suicide, because suicide it just sucks. Now, the gun is completely still. The shooter shoots. I'm going to let that ring. But there still might be an issue. There might be a round in the chamber, that round might go off. There might be a round in the revolver cylinder, that round might go off. It might blow the guy's finger off. There's still a risk. It's not 100% safe, but it's still a risk. But that's when a gun is shot out of someone's hand. It doesn't happen any other time. Now, you're not, I don't care who you are, you're not going to shoot a gun out of someone's hand while they're waving it around, while they're shooting it at you, while they're shooting at innocent people. You're just not going to do it. That doesn't even happen in stupid television shows. It doesn't happen, period. It's fiction. It's fiction. Now, I'm going to try to do a demonstration. I think I have time to do it now. I'm going to do 108. I have like 5 minutes on this. Let's see what happens. Okay, as usual, my safety check, which is always done. Black Hawk Serpa 2 retention holster. This is how a professional draws the gun, like that. And when you're in a relaxed setting, you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. Salute. Okay, now, and a lot of cops carry this. Uniformed cops carry their gun in plain sight. Right. Okay, cool. But, you know, you might be an undercover cop, you might be an off-duty cop, you might be a bodyguard, you might be a private citizen. They might not have this holster. The gun might be in the pants holster. The holster might have a retention strap on it. The gun might be a SIG, a Beretta, or a 1911 that has a safety to remove. The gun might be concealed by a sweater or a jacket, or a sweater and a jacket. Okay? The gun, the person, the shooter, might be holding something in their hand, like a pie or something like that, or a newspaper, or a cup of coffee. There might be an innocent person standing in the way. You know, some maniac pulls out a gun and tries to shoot, and there's an innocent person standing right in front of you. You gotta move them out of the way. This will fucking kill you. You may have to rack the slide the chamber around while you're drawing, which is gonna be a feat unto itself. Okay? So, this move, present, aim, fire, takes between 2 and 4 seconds, depending on how good you are. In a relaxed setting, in a high pressure setting, you're like this. Okay? When you're in a high pressure setting, 2 things happen. Number 1, brain turns off. Literally. Your fucking brain, boop, turns off. In addition to that, your hands are so, you might as well have a frozen hand. You're not going to be able to do fine motor skills and shit like that. So, let's assume this. High pressure setting. Now, like I said, what if there's a sweater and the jacket covering the gun? What if there's a retention strap over the holster? What if you have a manual safety to disconnect? What if there's an innocent person standing in front of you? What if you have to stand in front of the innocent person to block them with your body? Okay? This is what a high pressure draw looks like. That. Okay, that's high pressure draw. I had to stand up, I had to draw, and I had to fire. Now, you're under pressure. You grab this gun. You may forget to push this button. You may forget to do this, that, and the other thing. You may forget to take the safety off if you have a safety on your gun. And I'm talking fast now too, right? So, you grab the gun, yank it out, it's here. A lot of times, cops included, will shoot here. And it's going to be a hard hit. Because you hold one hand on the gun, without a proper grip, the gun might fly that way in the recoil. The second shot might be about here. If there's a third shot, the third shot might be about here. You're not going to have proper grip on your gun. You're not going to have proper anything on your gun. You're just going to draw it, pull it out, fire it in the direction of the guy that's trying to kill you. Now, what is the other underlying fact about gunfights that I say every freaking day? The odds of you being in a gunfight outside of Baghdad, in your neighborhood, in your home, the odds of you being in a gunfight are about 10,000 to 20,000 to 1. So, you have a problem, right? True. You haven't been in a gunfight before. You'll probably never be in a gunfight again. So, you may not know what to do. You may be frozen. You don't know what happens. Now, and the reason why law enforcement, and I'm trying to defend them, law enforcement and other professionally trained shooters shoot at the center mass is a matter of convenience. First and foremost, the center mass is probably the most likely area to shoot, as opposed to the arm, the leg, the head. In addition to that, the center mass is the most likely place to result in the person being knocked down. Okay, knocked down. They have to stop fighting. They're a danger to the community. The cop has to stop them. The cop wants to knock them down. And it's the most likely area he'll hit, the most likely area he'll knock down. Now, that sounds kind of harsh. It almost sounds like you want to kill the person. Well, I'm going to stop and I'm going to just do a quick 2-minute review because I don't want to go over.